2018, and I will be right here with you. It's a little bit rainy over here tonight, at least in Castries. Coming from the north, it's as usual, a little dry up north, and getting into just about where shock started raining down there. But we're in that season, that time of the year when we get rain off and on and off and on and off and on, and then you get a lot of rain. So we're in the hurricane season. I'd like to say good night to all of you tuning in tonight, whether it's on the internet or you listening on Flow TV channel 119, or if you're on your radio. Some people still have radios, 93.1 FM. I'd like to say good night to the listeners out there in Atlanta, Georgia. Somebody was not very pleased with me last week because I didn't give a shout out to the ATL crew. So good evening to those of you who are listening in Atlanta, Georgia. So I hope I've redeemed myself. Good evening to those of you in New York, in Pennsylvania. And if you happen to stay up in the UK, good evening or good morning to you. It would be 9 minutes after 12 over there. And perhaps if you're not getting us live tonight and you're listening to the archive show, welcome and thank you for listening to Keeping It Real. Folks, I decided to move on to something else tonight. There were a number of topics that I could have discussed tonight, but today I heard a press release from the St. Lucia Labour Party, and those of you who were listening last week will recall that I touched on the issues relating to healthcare in St. Lucia and the fiasco which is the StJudes hospital. Today I decided I was going to move on. There was the announcement that the people of St. Lucia would have been updated on the way forward for the government as far as healthcare is concerned. And there's a lot of anticipation for that. But this afternoon, lo and behold, I got a telephone call and somebody said, press statement regarding healthcare. Now, the information regarding the way forward came out sometime yesterday or today, I believe. And I would have expected that all St. Lucians, regardless of what side of the fence they're on as far as healthcare is concerned and the whole St. Jude Hospital disaster, would have at least given the government an opportunity to state its case, because there's been quite a bit of anticipation on what will be said by the Prime Minister and other ministers of government who are connected with the St. Jude Hospital. And I must say that I was a little taken aback, to put it nicely. And what I will do here is to read to you the press release from the St. Lucia Labour Party. But before that, I think I should go back a little bit in time to September the 9th, 2009. That was the same night that the fire erupted, if I can use such a word. And there were shouts, there were screams, people ran about frantically, there were fire engines, there were vehicles rushing to the scene, phone calls were being made. Fire! Fire! Diffé, bon Dieu! And St. Jude Hospital was up in flames. Our firefighters rushed to the scene and they put all of their energies into rescuing persons, patients, staff at the hospital. Staff members put their own lives at risk and evacuated patients and other persons who were overcome by the smoke. Unfortunately, 4 persons lost their lives in that fire. And then it began. One of the most embarrassing, one of the most ridiculous, one of the most unbelievable episodes in the history of St. Lucia. I don't know whether it can compare in magnitude to the Castries fires, but certainly the aftermath of the St. Jude Hospital fire is unprecedented in St. Lucia history. As a matter of fact, I believe forever that the example of St. Jude Hospital, the circumstances surrounding St. Jude Hospital, the manner in which the project, the reconstruction, the rebuilding, the renovation, the demolition of that old St. Jude Hospital, I am putting it to you, will eventually make it to texts for construction, for project management. It is unbelievable the cacophony of woes that have existed as a result of the fire at St. Jude Hospital. And today, after we have gone through so many years of back and forth, of quickly changing dollar amounts for the completion of St. Jude's, for the changing dates, for the different stories, for everything that has surrounded St. Jude, yet again, we have to deal with more controversy. And on the eve of the government making a statement on the way forward, how we're going to remedy this situation, the opposition, St. Lucia Labour Party, as if they have never said anything about it, being quite repetitive with questions that they should have asked themselves about why things were not done and fixed at St. Jude Hospital. And I find it is so ironic that the challenges that they place before the government are the challenges that they themselves should have responded to and rectified when they were in office. So I have the press release from the St. Lucia Labour Party right here. And if you would like to check it out for yourself, it is on the St. Lucia Labour Party Facebook page, and most likely elsewhere. So I hope you will bear with me for, it's not too long, it's just 1 page in length, and I will read it to you and tackle it as I go along the way. So it says, it's titled, SLP calls on government to recommence construction of St. Jude. After over 2 years of indecision and secret arrangements with foreign businesses, the government of the UWP has announced a panel discussion to discuss the serious healthcare crisis in St. Lucia. It is now 64 days since the Minister of Economic Affairs promised a statement from the Prime Minister. The position of the St. Lucia Labour Party on the healthcare crisis remains clear. Now, before I get to the points of this press release, I want to draw your attention to a typical or a much expected behavior. It has become predictable of the St. Lucia Labour Party of being very vague on details and leaving it up to the audience's wild imagination to fill in the blanks with unsubstantiated suggestions. So they said after 2 years of indecision and secret arrangements. Well, if it's secret, how did you know about it? And if you know about it, why don't you tell us what the secret arrangements are? Because in reading or in putting out this press release, you have to admit that the St. Lucia Labour Party holds a very high level of responsibility for the situation at St. Jude's. So, as far as credibility is concerned with that project, in my opinion, they have absolutely zero credibility. Leave it to somebody else, because under your stewardship, St. Jude Hospital became a nightmare for St. Lucia. And anything that the St. Lucia Labour Party wants to accuse this current administration of has been inherited from them. So let's move on to the points that the St. Lucia Labour Party has in their press statement. 1. The government is urged to continue the reconstruction and complete St. Jude Hospital at the present Auger site. 2 years of abandonment of the project by the UWP government is unacceptable and continues to put the lives of the patients and medical staff at the George Odlum Stadium in harm's way. What really has changed to be so concerned about that? Okay, all's fair that you are concerned about the conditions at the George Odlum Stadium. But aren't these the very same conditions that the government inherited from you? What did you do to rectify the problem after so many promises and dates and different amounts for the finishing of St. Jude Hospital? What gives you any credibility now? What gives you any position of authority to demand, because that's what they're doing, to demand from this current administration who's only been in office for 2 years? You know, when you look at this situation and you listen and you think critically of what is being said by the opposition, you have to ask yourself questions. And these, for any reasonable person, these are logical questions to ask under the circumstances of St. Jude. So let's move on to number 2. The St. Lucia Labour Party does not support the idea of privatization of the operations of the Owen King EU Hospital and the St. Jude Hospital. So my question is, has the government stated the final position as far as the management or the running of the Owen King EU Hospital and St. Jude Hospital? So is this a question to ask now or a statement to make that you do not support it on the eve of an announcement from the government? Couldn't you wait? But you see, the thing is, in typical SLP fashion, they want to control the airwaves. They want to control the discussion. They want to direct people's minds and make it seem like they're the ones who are demanding and controlling the government's decision as far as healthcare is concerned in St. Lucia. Under the circumstances, the SLP doesn't have a leg to stand on to say anything. They're in no authoritative position. They may have been in government. They were. But that's about it. Because being in government, they did not use or maximize the opportunity that they had after multiple promises to deliver on St. Jude's. Now moving on to number 3. The Soufriere Hospital has also been neglected by the UWP government and needs to be refurbished and occupied by the patients and healthcare professionals at the earliest. Now, folks, I don't know where the SLP has been, but if they're as attentive to what's going on in St. Lucia as they claim to be, then they would have realized that in a very short space of time, I think within a month, that the Soufrière Hospital was burnt on 2 occasions. And since then, there have been works being done on the hospital. The operations of the hospital have been moved. All of these were in the news. There were press statements about it. The minister responsible for that constituency made statements. The Minister of Health made statements. And lo and behold, even today, the very opening of the Soufrière Hospital is in the news. And I can tell you, from where I sit, and I don't see why the SLP would not have known this. I think you would have to try not to know with all the information that's out there. Because if they have information on secret agreements, then I would expect that public statements and press statements would be well within the reach of their radar. Folks, I want you to know that work on the Soufrière Hospital is ongoing. In fact, just a few minutes ago, it was on the nighttime news. Works are ongoing with deep cleaning. There's a lot of smoke contamination in the hospital. I'm sure you understand what that means. The electrical in the hospital is being rewired and renovations are being undertaken. The estimate is that in 4 weeks, primary healthcare services will be returning to the Soufrière Hospital from St. Isidore's Hall. That is definitive information. And in 8 weeks, the A&E department, that's accident and emergency, will return to Soufrière, to the Soufrière Hospital from Les Étangs. Now, folks, I really don't understand the purpose of this press statement other than to give the impression that they're controlling the government's moves or that they're pressuring the government. And because there's the statement tomorrow, it will seem like a hurried statement because of an SLP press statement. Now let's go to number 4. We continue to call for universal health care where all St. Lucians, regardless of social status, can get access to affordable health care. As has been stated before, much preparatory work has been done on universal health care by the former St. Lucia Labour Party government with assistance from healthcare experts, local and international. I'm really, you see, much of nothing there. I'm really curious to know what has been done for universal health care by the St. Lucia Labour Party. Why were they unable to provide universal health care during their last term in office? What happened? Again, they're making demands of this current government to do things which they failed to do during their tenure in office. Do you see a pattern here, folks? I see a pattern. So let's go on. The Prime Minister has demonstrated his contempt for St. Lucians over and over. Anyone who disagrees with the Prime Minister has been insulted and ridiculed. Professionals, including doctors and nurses, continue to be mocked and accused by the Prime Minister and his ministers. Again, the St. Lucia Labour Party has provided no evidence of this. The St. Lucia Labour Party calls on the Prime Minister and his ministers to stop insulting, ridiculing, and disrespecting members of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association and calls for respectful and meaningful dialogue on the present and future of healthcare in St. Lucia. I don't know, but reading those words there in that press statement sounds vaguely familiar to a press statement that came from somewhere else. But I'll leave that up to you because I'm quite certain you listen to the news. It goes on to conclude, we hope that Wednesday's discussion takes a productive and respectful direction. The St. Lucia Labour Party calls again on the Prime Minister to focus on correcting the deepening healthcare disaster that his government continues to make worse by the day. But end. That's the end. How does the SLP does not go on now to state how this Prime Minister and the current government continues to make healthcare worse by the day. Is this not the same situation which you left this government, that they inherited from you? Is this not the same StJudes? Is this not the same hospital that the St. Lucia Labour Party, Dr. Kenny Anthony, as former Prime Minister, and Minister Alvina Reynolds of Health? Isn't it not the same structure, the same hospital we're talking about, where multiple statements had been made about the state of the finances? One day it would be one figure, another day it would be one figure. In 2012, folks, moving on from the press statement, in 2012, there was a site visit to StJudes. And present at that site visit were then Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony and Minister of Health Alvina Reynolds. So let's hear what Dr. Kenny Anthony had to say in 2012.
They was talking initially of a hospital being constructed at 30 million. It's now in the vicinity of 47 million. I think by completion it's going to be about 60 million. You know what? I think it's going to be money well spent because you're going to have, as I said, a new hospital, increased facilities, brand new facilities, equipment that we never had before here at St. So, well, Mr. Independent is the saying to the effect that good thing comes to those who wait. The wait has been long, but I think at the end of the day, the people of the South will be very happy with what they will find. The challenges that people from the South face for medical care, meaning that when anything happens that they have to leave the South and travel to the North, those challenges will be resolved. So we'll have a lot of new equipment there, and no longer will our citizens from the South have to go to Castries to obtain key medical care or key medical treatments. That is important.
Folks, that was Dr. Kenny Anthony in 2012 on the premises of St. Jude Hospital. But he goes on further in that interview there, and I'll let you listen to that.
I am very impressed with what I've seen this far.
The challenges that people from the South face for medical care, meaning that when anything happens that they have to leave the South and travel to the North, those challenges will be resolved. So we'll have a lot of new equipment there, and no longer will our citizens from the South have to go to Castries to obtain key medical care or key medical treatments. That is important.
Okay, so that's your former Prime Minister in his own words. But on that same day, you also had the Minister of Health. Now, I'm just giving you a little bit of historical context so that we can establish exactly how things progressed whilst the St. Lucia Labour Party was in government. Because by their statements now, it seems like this problem, they were never in office. They were never in office, and all the blame for the situation at St. Jude's has magically moved from the years 2011 to 2016, and it has become, my expression from last week, the baby of the United Workers' Party. But the SLP cannot wash their hands on this at all. So let's listen to what Minister of Health Alvina Reynolds had to say on that day?
I am very impressed with what I've seen thus far. First time here, we did not see all of this work that had been put into the facility. But having come back a couple of months later, I have seen a lot more work, and I was either remarking to this thing, a lot more workers on site. So it's very exciting what is happening here now, and they're actually rushing to get to the date that they have identified to complete the project. So I am very impressed with what I've seen this far.
Okay, folks. So that's the Minister of Health, Alvina Reynolds, back in 2012. So we're going to move forward a little bit now and hear what she had to say in 2014. So let's hear what Alvina Reynolds had to say about St. Jude in 2014.
So far this year, following on the statement that I made that this year would be the last year that St. Jude would be occupying the stadium. And so far I have seen a lot of improvements, especially in the technical work, the various departments, surgical, medical, the restaurant, there are areas that will need work, of course, but these are minor ones. But there's a lot of work has been pushed, and there is more to be done. And I look forward to the next few months where work will really be pushed, night and day.
Folks, pay attention, please. Do you hear that? Work will be pushed 24 hours a day, night and day. That was January 2014, and the hospital was supposed to have been finished by the end of that year. But don't forget that the clip which we played just before that one was from 2012. This last one is 2014. On and on and on and on. The St. Lucians on the hamster treadmill, not getting anywhere with that previous government. Promises, promises, promises. I don't know if you know that song. You made me promises, promises. I don't have a singing voice tonight, but you get the idea. And we have somebody laughing at me on the other side over there. But, we're laughing now, but this is a really critical situation. We have been handed a bag of rocks, thinking that it's some vegetables or something of value in there. And it's just a big load on the backs of St. Lucians. St. Lucia's a Christian society, and it is a sin to tell a lie. Somebody just messaged me that it's a sin to tell a lie. How many hearts were broken in St. Lucia because of the constant promises over and over and over again? Right now, St. Lucians are cynical of anything that government has to say about St. Jude's. Do you think that the St. Lucia Labour Party has just a little bit of responsibility for doing that? We're going to take a little break, folks, and we'll be back for more on St. Jude Hospital and healthcare in St. Lucia. Back after the break.
You're listening to Carry FM 93.1.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Norbert Williams, with you. This is episode number 3. Folks, thank you for staying with us through the break. And we're dealing with this inescapable issue, this inescapable disaster that is St. Jude. Many accusations have been made by the former SLP administration of this Alan Chastney-led government. Many of the accusations that they make as far as fixing StJudes is concerned falls squarely in their laps. Because, believe it or not, or whether they want to believe it or not, this UWP administration has done absolutely nothing on the StJude construction site. What this means is that whatever the state of StJude Hospital at this time remains exactly how the St. Lucia Labour Party left it after their term in office from 2011 to 2016. That is a fact. There's no way around it. There's no way under it. There's no way over it. And it's time that people in St. Lucia, and particularly the St. Lucia Labour Party, begin to accept the facts. I think the St. Lucia Labour Party now needs to get down on their knees and do their act of contrition. Maybe they need a novena to absolve themselves in some little way. Some mea culpa, something. But the way that you're hearing the narrative from their side, it's as if they just dropped in from planet Zona on a spaceship and only landed on St. Lucia on elections day. Now, you know I like to refer to, especially on this show, I like to keep it real and present to you the facts, not something that is leaked and you cannot verify the source or the authenticity of it, not something that is leaked and it is adapted for the purposes of devious people, not anything that is made up to throw propaganda out there or to muddy the waters or even confuse people. Let's keep it real around here. I have a press statement again, another press statement. It is very interesting, when you go back and look at these press statements and compare them with what's being said now. This press statement was on May the 25th, 2016, just barely 2 weeks before the last elections on June 6, 2016. It's a press statement from the Minister of Health, the Honorable Alvina Reynolds, and it's titled, Update on StJude Hospital. I won't read the whole thing for you, but you can find it online just like I did. It's on their Facebook page again. We talk so many things about Facebook, but it all depends on the use that you put these resources that are available to you. And I chose to use Facebook not to put out any propaganda or to mama guy anyone, but to find what had been said in their own words. And in this press statement from May the 25th, 2016, I've highlighted 2 paragraphs here, and I'll read the first one to you. It's Alvina Reynolds here in her own words. In October 2014, the government of St. Lucia signed a loan with the Taiwan Export-Import Bank for the reconstruction of StJude Hospital, and the first set of funds from this loan was disbursed to the government of St. Lucia in January 2015. Now, mind you now, that's a year and a half previously that she's talking about. The first set of funds were disbursed to the government in January 2015. And she's making this press statement in May 2016. For some reason, it's just a question that pops into my mind, she has not said what happened with the second portion of that loan. It says the first set of funds. What about the second set of funds? Or was there a third set of funds? It's a little bit of a mystery here. So maybe those of you out there can inquire of her about that. Well, we go to the next paragraph. Now, this is very interesting. It tickled me a little bit. And here goes. When the construction of St. Jude Hospital is completed, which we listen to this, which we anticipate will happen toward the end of this year. Now, that's May 2016. The residents of the south of the island in particular, and the people of St. Lucia in general, will be extremely pleased and proud of the end product. We will have a new St. Jude that is equal to the Owen King EU Hospital. In fact, the expenditure on St. Jude Hospital, when it is completed, including furniture, fittings, and equipment, will be close to EC $150 million. The expenditure on the Owen King EU Hospital, minus furniture and equipment, was EC $152 million, with an additional 9 million euros spent on furniture and equipment. Good evening. Thank you for calling Keeping... Oh, somebody lost the line. Number to call is 451-1079. If you'd like to email us with any questions or comments, the email address is info@keepingitreal.lc. info@keepingitreal.lc. So, the question here is, what was discovered soon after the Minister of Health, the former Minister of Health, Alfina Reynolds, said that the hospital would be ready by the end of the year? I mean, it's not anything new to her. She said that for quite a number of years. Each time it would be November or the end of the year. So she has developed a bit of a pattern in making that pronouncement of when the hospital would have been completed. But lo and behold now, because there had been so many problems, so many issues with the hospital, so many dates, so many different amounts, the new Alan Chasney administration decided that it would have been important to find out exactly what was going on. And last week I gave you the analogy, if you will, of taking over a shift, whether it's at a bar, whether it's at a hotel, whatever it is, that you must be satisfied that whatever you're taking over is what is being handed over to you. Because at the end of your shift, if you say, well, I received 10 bottles of water, and at the end of your shift, you sold only 1, but you only have 5 on hand, it means 4 disappeared somewhere. And if you accepted what the first person on their shift handed over to you, then you got to pay for 4 bottles of water. But that's just a rather simplistic explanation of what's going on here. So the UWP administration commissions a technical audit and also a financial audit. I think it's sensible to do that, don't you? If you have to take or acquire the responsibility for a project which so far had cost $118 million or $138 million. We have a number of different figures out there because of what's being found as the investigations go along. Wouldn't you want to make sure that $150 or $118 million, whatever it is, $100 million, $90 million, $110 million, folks, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. And I can tell you, I wouldn't want to be responsible for that in the least. But then again, what is annoying about the St. Lucia Labour Party? Even up to today, with their press statement, their demand, fix StJudes, give us our hospital, do all of this. But my question to them is, the St. Lucia Labour Party, maybe you all can answer that question, because I don't know whether anybody has asked it directly to the St. Lucia Labour Party. With all the demands to fix StJudes, how much money did you all leave for the new administration to do that? Was there any money left from the loans that you got from the Taiwanese bank? How much money did you leave? Because if you're demanding that works according to the government estimates, that StJudes to be completed, to be renovated, or to build a new hospital are practically about the same cost based on the information that they've received from the experts of almost another $100 million. How much have you all left for this administration to continue the works? Or did you leave the country broke? And if that is the case, what suggestions do you have for getting that money, $100 million at least, to finish off this problem in whatever way that it's going to be done? So, we have this problem with StJudes. Let's get to hear what some people have to say, or had to say, about StJudes. Well, we have a call. Let's go to the lines. Good evening. Thank you for calling Keeping It Real.
So, I called last week, and it was sounding like a broken record all over.
Yes, caller, it is a broken record, because you know why? The record was broken from 2011. It kept skipping and skipping. The same broken record.
But what you don't understand, that at the end of the day, you're not going talking and talk. You can talk from autism. The people that are sick, that need a hospital, their only concern is what about a hospital, and when are we going to get a hospital?
Caller, were you calling like that between 2011 and 2016?
I say what people are saying is they need a hospital.
Yes, they do, of course, but nobody disputes that. Caller, nobody disputes that. But you seem to have a problem about apportioning blame to the SLP, who are responsible for this monster of a situation that we have.
Why did the jobs, the work stop? If you said the lady said she was going to finish it at the end of the year, which is 2016, why did you stop the work?
Because caller, I don't think you're paying I don't think that you're paying attention to what I just said.
Because I paid attention.
No, you're not. Because what I just said to you and to everybody else listening out there, and it's logical, and it happens every day in St. Lucia and around the world.
In fact, you should. Why didn't you have the
caller, don't tell me what to do. Caller, you're ignoring what I'm saying.
No, but you sound like you know everything.
No, and you sound like you know everything.
I don't know everything. I'm calling because
okay, caller, you're not listening. You are not listening. You only want to push your agenda, and you're not listening to a logical conversation. You are not listening to the reasoning. You caller, you have to listen. I am not listen. Caller. It's not about sick people alone. It's about the entire process. There are sick people in St. Lucia every day. Sick people have existed in St. Lucia from time immemorial. So this is not anything unique. Whether we have a St. Jude hospital or we don't, we're still going to have sick people in St. Lucia.
The politicians are not the ones suffering. The politicians can always go overseas and do all sorts of things.
Caller, this is not about politicians. We're having a discussion about the situation that was left for this administration to remedy.
Because it's a battle. It's a battle between two sides. It's a battle.
Okay.
Trying to put one down over the other, who is better at this and that. And people now that really are saying, people working, people that are sick, just have to stay at the side and listen to all those things going on and on and on.
Caller, good evening to you. Thank you for always being our first caller, first of all. Right?
And I'm your only caller.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm tired of
No, well, caller, I'm sorry if you're tired of hearing it, but some things have to be said. And I appreciate you calling. But listen, the point is that Mr. Norbert is here doing a program, and it's for the listeners who want to hear and understand.
But I
Wait, please, let me explain my side, okay? No, are you going to let me explain my side? I will let you, I'll give you all the time, right? I'll give you all the time. It's for him to explain, because not everybody knows what you know, and not everybody appreciates what you don't appreciate, right? Let us be kind to each other on this. And I had to come in here to just say to you, because I don't want tempers to raise. It won't do either of us, neither the station any good.
Just as I am sometimes, it's just like I'm.
Yeah, I know some things.
I heard Mr. Norbert
no, I know some.
For a long time, advocating for SOL, which is the sexual offenders.
Wait, hold on.
But ma'am,
but ma'am, not everything. I know that sometimes what you hear will irritate you, but it's not only you we're speaking to. So bear with us, bear with Mr. Norbert, and please let him produce his show, right? Even if you don't like what he has to say, but let him say it.
I'd also like him to
Okay?
speak on the SOL.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So let me let you complete your contribution to the program, and let us move on, okay? Would you like to continue?
Yeah, yes, because I'm making my point because I'm hearing things, and my only concern is that the hospital, right now, we have two hospitals, just Victoria Hospital and Central, that are not fit for people to be in.
Yeah, but that was.
And politicians cannot keep on battling one another at the expense of people. That is what now is a battle at the expense of people. People have to get offended. People have to get upset about those things. That's if you're going to keep on fighting to see who is the best. You're going to try and destroy one another, bring one another down with all kinds of reports, all kinds of things. Where are we going? We're not going nowhere.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution, ma'am. I appreciate your call anyway, okay?
Thanks.
Good. Continue, Mr. Norbert.
Mr. Ellis, one of the things
get those kinds of
one of the things that we have to realize.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening, yeah.
Yep.
Good evening.
Good evening. And I just want to introduce myself before I say anything. I am Hilary Saltibus, former candidate for the United Workers' Party in 2001. And I have been in the politics a lot. Now, what you're doing there, it is politics, so I will make it political. I want to say to the nation, whilst you're saying all that you have said, if you listen to the clip that you had from the minister is actually saying, hello?
Yes, we're go ahead, caller.
Okay,
we're here.
The minister is actually saying information given to her. Now, no minister, right, can tell you, they can only tell you what the technocrats do, because a minister is administering a ministry. You don't necessarily have to be a doctor, you've got to be a good administrator. Now, all the information given by the Labour Party, and I remember when the minister made the first statement, I called the minister because I was working at the hospital and said that the information given to your mom is a little far-fetched. Now, this is technocratic business. Our problem right now in St. Lucia is that a hospital was being constructed. You want to investigate. The hospital could have been continued. Work could have been continued at the hospital. To finish the hospital, to get the people out of harm's way at the stadium. At the stadium is dangerous. I am in Newport. It is a dangerous place. Taking off the roof from that, it is dangerous. I feel the people should have been out of there to take off the roof. If anything collapsed, and God forbid, we have problems. Now, the hospital could have been finished. You said whether there was money. I know that there was money.
Well, let me ask you a question, caller. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, yeah.
Let me ask you a question. In whatever is being done at St. Jude now with the roof, did the government hire a bunch of zombies to do the work? hold on.
Yeah. I'm not going to go there.
No. But you're saying,
yeah, go ahead.
You're saying that the works being performed there are dangerous.
Yes.
So my logical question to you is that the persons contracted to do that work, are you suggesting that they don't know what they're doing?
Yes, sir. I am in the engineering field myself. I will never contradict anybody of not knowing what they're doing.
But you're saying...
But let me tell you something. There is room for accidents.
There's always room for accidents, no matter what you do.
Rainy season, but you have lives. You have lives in the path of accidents. Something that can possibly happen. It can possibly happen.
Anything. Caller. What you saying? Caller. Hold on a second. Hold on. What you saying there is not logical.
Why is not logical?
Allow me to explain.
How can you tell me that what I am saying is not logical?
Caller, are you therefore saying that whichever company is currently engaged at the George Odlum Stadium performing the works that they have been contracted to do are performing those works dangerously and without care for safety? Is that the allegation you're making?
Sir, let us be sensible. Let us have a sensible conversation.
I'm asking you a question.
I have not accused no workers of doing
No, I'm not saying no. Caller.
I'm not going to accuse, and I'm not going to say that any company, sir, any company that
what are you saying?
Will do dangerous.
But what are you saying?
I am saying, sir, taking off the fiberglass on the roof at the StJudes, right? You could take whatever company that you have. There is room. Understand me, there is room.
Of course, you can say that about anything. There's room for the roof to fall on my head right now.
Also that's right. But my point is, we had enough time to get the people out of StJudes. And if that roof is to be removed, it should be removed and replaced for the sportsmen of St. Lucia. Now, I am saying that the two plus years, because we're going off the other side already, that the United Workers' Party has stalled StJudes. As you say about investigation, yes, I want to know about the financial matters. Yes, I want to know about construction. But I am saying that the minister, just recently the minister said that they could have used part of the hospital and take the people in there. I am saying, my friend, and to St. Lucian, that I, who work at the hospital, who have an interest in the hospital, I was married at StJudes, the old StJudes, in the cathedral. When somebody wants to say they should not have a cathedral, yes, the church is necessary. Yes, God is necessary. StJudes could have been finished already, my brother. Finished already. Money, when the Taiwanese draw down money, Dr. Anthony took almost 2 years to get that money from the Taiwanese. And I hope they get their one for the airport very soon, because the Taiwanese is not going to release money just like that. For the hospital, there was time, we had enough, and that is my problem. We should have finished the StJudes. I worked at the stadium after the fire. I went in there with my team of workers and did some plumbing work, free of charge, my brother. I want to see healthcare at StJudes, not in the danger zone of the thing. And what's the time that it is being done during the hurricane season? Now, wind's already picking up in the port. My God, let me tell you something, my friend. I'm hurting. I'm paining for what is happening to our country. Finish StJudes. Have a blessed night.
Thank you very much for calling, sir. But it's strange that people want to approach this from an emotional level when they cannot make the logical arguments, or they refuse to accept the logical arguments. They want to start calling down God and Mary and Joseph and everybody on this earth, because now they want to appeal to you emotionally without having to examine exactly what went on and what continues to affect us on the ground. Now, this gentleman here said that the 2 years that this current administration has been in office should have been enough time to complete the hospital. So my question to him now is, was not the previous 5 years from 2011 to 2016 enough time to finish the hospital back then? Why is it that this current administration has to be raked over the coals? And I'm not saying that it's not important for StJude to be finished. I'll be the first person to say so. But I am telling you, just as I said before, and I said earlier, the logical argument here the logical and reasonable discussion is that if you have to take on the responsibility for St. Jude's, that you must know what you are taking responsibility for. St. Jude's Hospital was a jab en sac. That is exactly what it was. And this government is being absolutely prudent in finding out exactly what went on over there. And the question that I have to ask is of the St. Lucia Labour Party, because everybody is saying to fix it, fix it. How much money did the St. Lucia Labour Party leave for this current administration to fix the hospital? Good evening, caller. Go ahead.
Good night, Mr. Williams. How are you, sir?
Good night, sir.
Let me ask you a question here.
Yes.
Who changed the scope of works on this hospital?
Oh, you tell me. You sound like you're calling from very far away.
No matter what it is, let's deal with the issue here. Who changed the scope of works on that hospital?
Well, you tell me. Just make your point.
That's number one. Number two.
You haven't made the point yet. Make your point.
Hold on. Let's get to it one by
one.
Well,
that's what I'm trying to do. One by one.
Okay. When the administration of the Honorable Stephenson King left, was there any money at all, anywhere in the government coffers, to continue the building and finishing of that hospital?
Well, according to Alvina Reynolds, hold on a second here, because since you want to challenge me. According to Alvina Reynolds, originally, I'll give you the context of this. This is from the same May 2016, May 25th, 2016 press statement.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, allow me to provide some background on this so that you may better understand. Originally, the United Workers' Party administration had decided to renovate St. Jude Hospital. Now, hold on a second here, right? Quite a bit of argument from the St. Lucia Labour Party was that they should have continued with the renovation. But listen to what Alvina Reynolds continues to say. Originally, the United Workers' Party administration had decided to renovate St. Jude Hospital, and it spent $45 million on this exercise before it realized that the problems associated with renovation were so significant that it would have been better to demolish the structure and rebuild. But we will recall that Honorable Stephenson King, the former Prime Minister then, had said that the situation had become so serious with what was discovered there that they had to make further changes to the original intentions with the hospital.
Are you finished there?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever read the exit report?
By whom?
By Shanta King.
Was it presented to you?
I have a copy of it, and I'm going to read from it on page.
What, is that an official copy?
It is an official copy from the government of St. Lucia.
Who gave it to you? Are you a government? Are you a government minister?
Mr. Williams,
are you a government minister?
Mr. Williams, I am reading from an official copy from Ms. Shanta King in her exit report.
Did Shanta King give you the report?
I am not going to tell you how I got it, but I have it. Can I read from it? Yes or no?
No, I'm not going to accept that. If you have to have official documentation. If you don't have it, I cannot verify what you're referring to here.
Why you can't? It is not maligning anybody.
No. Hold on a second. Let me tell you something. Okay? Let me make something clear to you.
Let's go.
In quoting any information that I have here, and like I said previously, on this show, we keep it real. I don't... Hold on a second. I'm not finished yet. I don't care how convinced you are about the information that you have to quote a reliable source. Any information that I put forward to you, I quote where you can find it. It's accessible to you. I don't know what you read in there. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know who gave you what has been altered, and I will not allow that here at all. I will not allow it, and that is the position on this show. Period. That is exactly the what will be done with anyone attempting to put forward information that we cannot verify here. We are setting the rules bright and early on this show. This is the 3rd episode, and I will not allow you to come and spew anything that is going to put us in a position of culpability or responsibility or feeding the false information over here. Not at all. So, moving right ahead, in 2017, after all of the talk about what had been discovered and what was not accounted for and all the problems with St. Jude, there was a tour of St. Jude by the Minister of Health, healthcare professionals, stakeholders, doctors, nurses. Let's hear what the Minister of Health, the Honorable Mary Isaac, had to say on that tour.
They are here to get a feel of, what the environment looks like, what it is that people are talking about, and they are, like I said, one of the major stakeholders in this whole discussion, and they have been left out throughout. So we want them to be part of the process, to participate, and of course to educate other people about what they have seen and what their thinking is on the whole issue of St. Jude.
Okay, folks, that was the Minister of Health, Mary Isaac, on a tour on the 6th of October 2017 of St. Jude's. Now, we're going to get a further statement by Alicia Baptiste, who is from the St. Lucia Nurses Association.
First, I must say that I'm disappointed in what I've seen. By now, I expected that our nurses would be moving into a new structure because we know that the stadium is compromised. But coming in today, there's no ventilation. On top of that, no exit doors, and this hospital is being rebuilt after a fire. And for me now seeing that it's now being rebuilt, and then yet still there are no enough exit doors for our emergency personnel and patients. So that concerns me, because whereby, yes, we want a hospital and we want it now because we deserve it, but we need to ensure that it is a hospital that goes by international standards and that our patients and staff are safe in the hospital.
Now, folks, doesn't that sound like somebody making a reasonable observation? That although we need a hospital, and someone who actually is feeling the pain of her co-workers and very likely working under those conditions, is saying that although we need a hospital, we cannot rush and just do a pash-pash job because we need a hospital. So, in all of our emotion, in all of what has happened at St. Jude's, isn't it sensible that we go about doing this the right way? And not just the right way as far as safety is concerned, but the right way as far as accountability is concerned. And the accountability falls squarely on the shoulders of this administration. And I would not, and I am in total agreement with this current administration, to find out exactly what was going on at St. Jude's before I accept the responsibility. And regardless of whether we like it or not, it is the sensible thing to do, because anything that this government does, and look, they haven't done anything with St. Jude's physically yet, and they're already being blamed. So can you imagine accepting this jabba sack that St. Jude is, and later on down the road having to face the wrath, the further wrath of the people because you didn't know what you were getting into, and now every week you have to make excuses? So, on that same day, on the 6th of October 2017, on the tour of StJudes, we have Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose, yes, of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association. Let's hear what he had to say on that visit to StJudes.
First, I must say that I'm disappointed.
This is a very complex situation. It's not an easy one. It's a very huge pill to swallow, but some people are going to have to swallow that pill. We will put out a statement at the right time. But for now, we need to digest what is going on. It's just premature to say anything on it at this point. But it doesn't look good. It is not good. Something has gone horribly wrong here. And we need answers. Someone has to account for that.
You heard that, folks? That's Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose last year. Let's just play that little bit again so that you can hear it.
This is a very complex situation. It's not an easy one. It's a very huge pill to swallow, but some people are going to have to swallow that pill. We will put out a statement at the right time. But for now, we need to digest what is going on. It's just premature to say anything on it at this point. But it doesn't look good. It is not good. Something has gone horribly wrong here. And we need answers. Someone has to account for that.
Pamwe Kidi, Alphonsus St. Rose, Kidi. Something has gone horribly wrong. I don't think he saw roses growing on the grounds of StJudes, and he said something was horribly wrong. Isn't he a doctor? Shouldn't he be able to realize whether something is good or bad at a hospital, even though he's not an engineer? Even though I'm not an engineer, you can see if something's wrong. But his choice of words, it wasn't uncertain. He didn't seem unsure about what he wanted to say. He was very emphatic in stating that something had gone horribly wrong and that someone would have to account. But if that was in 2017 and the UWP administration came into office in June 2016 and no works had been done since elections up to the point when Dr. St. Rose made that statement, then who created that monster? It certainly wasn't created into the future. It was created in the past. Was it the SLP administration in office? So, you see, folks, hindsight, like they say, is 20/20 vision. Maybe not necessarily so. But when we hear certain persons making statements now, and then we hear what they said before about the same situation, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed on the ground at StJudes. But, lo and behold, certain persons, Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose, who's at the forefront of this discussion now, made those very telling remarks about what he saw at St. Jude Hospital. Folks, the situation there is critical. And tomorrow, this government will be making statements on the way forward. We're going to take a little break and we will be right back. If you would like to call, the number is 451-1079. If anybody is trying to listen, it's channel 119 on Flow. And if you'd like to email us your comments or questions, the email address is info@keepingitreal.lc. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Looks like we have a call right on getting back on with you. Good evening. Thank you for calling Keeping It Real.
Good evening, Brother Norbert.
Good
my
evening,
good
sir.
friend, the great Lionel Ellis.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Golden Dragon.
The Golden Dragon.
Golden Dragon. Yeah. You know, a very short comment. You know, from my knowledge, we never really owned the StJudes Hospital. It was built by the Americans years ago, then taken over by some nuns who just recently, not so recently, tried to quit and go back to the country where they came from, leaving the hospital in the hands of the government. So we had a fire. The fire damaged a major part of the hospital, and then there's an attempt to rebuild that part, and then the plans changed to rebuild a new state-of-the-art hospital. Now, why rebuild a new state-of-the-art hospital? We can't even afford one. You know, we have to be realistic. We have to be honest with our people. Why would politicians tell people we're going to build a state-of-the-art hospital so we can't afford to have two? One is a problem to maintain, one is a problem to get management for it, one is a problem to get correct nurses and doctors and management. So we can barely afford to have one state-of-the-art. You know, so what we really need is one state-of-the-art hospital, and a good North polyclinic, a good South polyclinic, and a few other primary health care centers. We can't afford to have two hospitals. This country is a small island. It's very limited resources. We cannot afford it. So why, you know, we must be honest with our people. Why would politicians promise people a state-of-the-art hospital down in the South? Even though it's close to the airport, the international airport, you know, there are things that can be done. You have a standby police marine unit, take people from the hospital by sea, a standby air ambulance, you know. You can build a nice highway, take people from down south to catch you in about 25 minutes.
But caller, let me just jump in here a little bit.
Yeah.
Or isn't it that the way that we've been providing healthcare in St. Lucia has to change? Because what you're saying there is an important consideration. But wouldn't you say that we have continued to or continued attempting to offer healthcare in St. Lucia the same way that we always have, and it has not worked? Therefore, we have to change the model of our healthcare to get it working in these modern times, because a lot of what we're doing is old. A lot of what we're doing is old and has not worked for decades. So it is our responsibility as St. Lucians, the government, we're all the same. It is our responsibility to change the way that we've been dealing with healthcare in St. Lucia, to adapt and to make it work for us, because nobody else is going to make it work. And the fact remains that our population is growing, that we have a large population center in the north, where for the longest while our largest hospital existed. And now we have a major international airport in the south, with the plans by this administration to make some major changes in the south. What are we going to do? If we look at our topography, if we look at how everything else is in St. Lucia, if we need to have responsive emergency care with an international airport in the south, don't you think it's prudent or sensible to have another hospital in the south?
Not if you can't afford it, my brother. Not if you can't afford it. I give you examples. Having a standby marine unit, fast boat, take you from Beaufort to Carthage in 15 minutes by boat, a standby ambulance, and just build a highway from. I mean, look at there's an incident in Bahamas.
Yeah, but caller.
We can't afford it, but we can't afford it.
But if you're saying we can't afford it, you're prescribing things to do which are very expensive. The helicopter is a hell of an expensive thing to operate. But you're hold on. You're putting that in the equation, but you're not giving other information on how to change. Because when you say put an air ambulance in place, what you're in essence saying is that we have to adapt and change the way that we're providing our healthcare, which is exactly what I said. So,
but you're quite right about adjusting and changing our healthcare. I mean, you have to get the consultants on health administration and so on. What I'm saying to you, let's be honest with our people. We cannot afford to have two state-of-the-art hospitals. Thank you, my brother.
No, before you Google that, Dragon, I mean, I wanted to...
His credit ran out.
No, I wouldn't say so. I wanted to say to him, maybe he has a point there. But you see, one thing you have to consider when politicians want to big themselves up and impress the people of their constituency, And this is where the former Prime Minister, Dr. Kenny Anthony, talked about he was building a state-of-the-art hospital. And you can recall it's in his constituency. So therefore, he was ensuring that he did the best. But his best was not good enough, because after increasing the cost of the hospital, it just didn't work out. And I want, while I have the microphone there, Norbert, the press release starting off this evening that you read from the Labour Party, talking about the secrecy of this government.
Secretive arrangements.
This thing struck me because I don't know if St. Lucians are really listening or really understand what they write sometimes. How can the Labour Party even talk about secrecy
the
with the UWP? They forget the secrecy of Grindberg. They forget the secrecy of Juvali. They forget the secrecy of the Hellenite Center. There's so many issues that the Labour Party got themselves involved with, and we didn't know about. You can tell me something I forgot. Which one?
Lindquist?
All these secrets, the $3 million.
Rochamel?
That did they come and say they were going to spend $3 million to investigate Honorable Guy Joseph? Did they say that? All of this was a secret. We heard it after the fact. And in the press release today, I'm hearing about secrecy.
But you see, that's the thing that I keep saying about credibility. And where is the credibility for the St. Lucia Labour Party in this whole St. Jude fiasco? Where is the credibility when exactly what they're referring to is the situation that the United Workers' Party government under Alan Chasney inherited from them? That is what they passed on. That is their legacy for their previous term in office. And it behooves anybody to understand where they're coming from with these allegations of secret arrangements. And it seems to me that the only reason for making all of this noise is simply to distract attention from what this current administration is discovering about what was left behind by the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Yeah, and the other point I want to make, I don't want to take over your show, but the other point I want to make is that it kind of bothers me when I hear, and I think that opposition parties must take note. They must give credit where credit is due. And I think that it's unfortunate in St. Lucia that you have an opposition led by an individual who is part and parcel of what went on with St. Jude.
That's right.
He would like to bow himself out of it now and say he didn't know this, he didn't know that, he didn't know the other. Like he said, he wasn't there when the investigation, remember him in the house? Yes. He wasn't there when the investigation was done against.
He didn't know anything about it.
He didn't know anything about it. He never investigated
But
anybody.
he was in cabinet.
But the point is, this opposition that is there now, including the gentleman who from Vieux-Fort North, Moses Jean-Baptiste, and Honorable Philip J. Pierre. We have Alva Baptiste. All of these guys were there.
Hold on. You said
was it a secret?
You mentioned Alva Baptiste. Well, I know we're talking about secret here.
Yeah.
But we have to give it to the Honorable Alva Baptiste. Member from Labrie, who stated in the House of Assembly that y'all could fix St. Jude's. Fix St. Jude's, man. Fix St. Jude's. All you have to go is go buy chemical and get some bleach and get some chemical. And that is the brain box solution to the St. Jude Hospital fiasco.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is the fact that these guys were there. I don't mind. You see the lady that called tonight? I don't mind her. Whether she's supposed to Labour or UWP, it doesn't matter. She's an individual, a member of the public, and she can call in and she can object. I don't have a problem with that. But when I hear these guys who were in there with all the secrecy that went on, with all the fact that St. Jude's is being built, they were in office for 4.5 years. They should not be the ones leading any case against this government.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. They have no credibility. None.
Because, I mean, it's sad that this thing is serious, you know.
But hold on. Again, I have to go back to this. They keep challenging the government to fix St. Jude's, and a number of people there have taken that up. But my question is, and it's the logical question to ask, if you're challenging the government to fix St. Jude's, how much money did you all leave for the government to continue with those works? And if you're complaining about any loan or any attempt by the government to seek financing on the outside, and the estimates are that to complete St. Jude's in its barely 50% complete state, where do you suggest that the government get the $100 million from? How? Now, let's not forget here now, because everything is related. When you took office, there was taxes on airfares, of course. And there were quite a few $1 million in a lockbox that the previous administration left. I think it was to the tune of $200 million or something of the sort for the reconstruction or the renovation of the Huonora International Airport. Where the money gone? Where is that money?
Listen, I want to ask you a question, and I hope you can research this for me. I want to know how many times did Honorable Philip J. Peer, the deputy leader of the party or deputy prime minister, act as prime minister during their term of office? This is significant.
Say that again.
I want to know how many times during the term of the Labour Party. Because you see everybody knocking Alan Chasney, our prime minister. Everybody's knocking him because he's their leader. Okay, fine. But let's go back to the Labour Party. How many times did Honorable Philip J. Peer act as prime minister during their term of office? That is what I want you to come up with me next Monday night. Mm-hmm. There must be a record somewhere.
Next Tuesday night.
Right? Next Tuesday night. Because of all the times he acted as prime minister, you mean to tell me he didn't know what was going on with St. Jude? He didn't know what was going on with St. Jude?
If he didn't know about the Lindquist investigation, then most likely on cabinet days he wasn't present. So maybe he wasn't present at cabinet.
So let's assume he didn't know. That should be his beef now. His beef with
why he didn't know.
His beef should be not with Alan Chasney or not with this government. His beef should be Dr. Kenny Anthony. That should be where his beef is now. So I don't want to hear from him. I don't want to hear from Moses Jean-Baptiste. I don't want to hear from Alva. These fellas were Sheriff, Cockney, second in command, third command. I remember when there was a trip to China. It was Alva Baptiste, the prime minister, when he indicated that he was going with Taiwan. In the same speech, he indicated that Alva Baptiste was heading a team to China, to mainland China. So there was a significant person there that should know all about government matters if he is going to China to represent the St. Lucia Labour Party. And he was foreign minister, and I recall at the time with my little common sense, if something had happened on that plane, we would not only have lost a deputy of the Labour Party, we would have lost a foreign affairs minister in the name of Alva Baptiste. So when the Labour Party is talking now and talking about hospital, what were they doing? Why was it left only to Alvina Reynolds and Kenny and the former Prime Minister? So they have no credibility. Let the people on the ground criticize the Labour Party, criticize the UWP.
They should bow their heads in shame.
Let them criticize. They're entitled to criticize both parties.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't want to hear from those persons, because as a human being with a little bit of common sense, I realize those people are just trying to get votes and trying to get favor to get back in power. That's all they're trying to do.
How can you contribute to the problem? How can you be the source
You had 4.5
of
years.
responsibility? You failed, but now you are the most
holier than thou.
Holier than thou. That's exactly it.
Holier than thou. And I relate Philip J. Pear, Honorable Philip J. Pear, to Robert Stanfield in Canada. He will never be Prime Minister of St. Lucia. He's failed his own Labour Party. He failed his own Labour Party. I heard talk now about them trying to get somebody else to lead the party. He has probably been successful in his constituency, but he's failed the Labour Party.
Good evening, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. I will be John Public.
Yes, sir.
Okay, John Public.
Let me just say something to the both of you gentlemen there, right? I'm hearing a lot of information that you're trying to, or whatever you're trying to place on the St. Lucia Labour Party, right? It is so far-fetched. It is so far-fetched that how can I, right, Joe Blow, John Public, know so much more than you are?
Give us an example, eh?
So much more than you are. You made a statement a little while ago about the Dr. St. Rose.
Yeah.
Dr. St. Rose's statement meant nothing about the state of St. Jude's, how the others. He was worried that we were not inside of there because the following statement, in his statement he said that you'd analyze, you have to go back and think and then come back with answers. They have given the government, and it is their right as the body representing the medical fraternity of this country to advise the government, and the government has not even taken on that advice. This is one. And you're now talking about the St. Lucia Labour Party, about it was so divided. As John Public, I got information from ministers. When you talk about Minister Alva went out searching for money, right, as foreign affairs ministers to complete St. Jude's. Dr. Anthony did. And every one of those members of the St. Lucia Labour Party in the cabinet was in sync with what was going on about St. Jude. I know, because I asked questions. Now I will ask questions of the United Workers' Party that the two of you are trying to project that
in other words, you're trying to do like us, right?
And it is necessary to.
Okay, right. I just want to clear. We want to even sleep.
Yeah. We need to have that. We need to have the debate, and I would like to sit down with the two of you and debate you all. Because I have enough information. You told a gentleman a little while ago that the document that he was reading from, right, was not credible. But the Minister of Infrastructure spoke about it, and he talked about it already. I have it. It is on the net, just like you're telling people that it is on, things are on the net. And why didn't you allow him to do that? Listen to me, huh? I think if you
caller, just a second.
Yes, go ahead.
Just because
you talk and then you talk,
Yeah, we can do a back and forth. That's all right.
Well,
you're not going anywhere.
Let's go ahead.
Just because it's on the net doesn't mean that it's authentic. I have not seen that report on the government's website.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I haven't seen it on any official website.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, hold on a second. I just want to clear your mind about anything because you made a statement that I referred
to. You did not
to.
allow the guy, right?
Hold on a second. I'm aware of what transpired.
Now that document has signatures on it that I know, and it's.
Hold on a second, caller. Okay? That doesn't mean anything to me whether you know signatures or not. That's not the point right now.
It is so as other developments.
Hold on, caller. Hold on. Let me respond to your comment.
Yeah, go ahead. I have the time.
You also said that I referred to documents which are online. That is true. But I have pointed you to exactly where the document exists. The press statements are on the SLP's Facebook page, which is readily available to you right now if you choose to go look for it. the statements which were made by Kenny Anthony, Alfonso St. Rose, Alvina Reynolds, Mary Isaac, and others.
Now we don't have to go too far, Mister. Let me tell you something. You see all of those statements you're talking about. I have got all of them on my file. I'm a political activist. I have all of them. I know about all of them. But listen to just.
Are you a Facebook SLP Facebook activist?
No. I'm a personal Facebook guy who does my work on Facebook. Listen to me.
Right, because recently I heard somebody being referred to as an SLP Facebook activist. So I was just curious of whether you were in the group.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. Let's be real. Now let me say something to you. This very same document you see that is not on the website of the government. And this is where secrecy comes into play. I and all sensible people know that there was an exit report that is always done. And Madam Chanta King, right? I respect her. And she would not have left StJudes professionally and did not leave that exit report. Now this exit report is one that has been kept secret. Now when you're talking about secrecy, that is the secret that we want. And we have it. We got it. We are able to get it. You know why we have it? It is because they are disgruntled people within this government.
Caller, you're making a lot of assumptions there.
I'm not making assumptions, but how I got it.
I don't know.
It is because it was leaked, my brother. And only way it can leak, it came out from the officials. And if it is Chanta King that do it,
is the document,
if it is somebody else that did it,
is the document you have a leaked document? Sir? No, I'm asking the question.
If you say it's not on the government website,
no,
it means
I'm just asking you a simple question. No, but I'm asking you a question, sir. Yes or no, or you can tell me you don't want to answer. Is the document?
I do not want to answer.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. Fair enough.
Yes,
all right.
I'm saying that the document is there. The document should be made public knowledge, and we can have the debate.
Well, I don't know. Hold on a second, caller. Hold on a second. Hold on.
The very first document that should have been out.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you.
No, don't cut me off.
Thank you for calling.
No, wait.
Don't do that.
Right. You know, there have been a lot of allegations of this current administration not providing information, of being secret. And I think since this is brought up here by this caller, that I should make the statement that never in the history of St. Lucia politics, whether it's the SLP administration, whether it is previous UWP administrations, that this current UWP administration under the leadership of Alan Chasney is the most open, is the most accessible, and is the most transparent administration in the history of politics in St. Lucia.
I just want to go back to the two callers. The first caller who said he had a document did not say it was on the net. He said he had the document. He didn't say where it was. The second caller says he has a document. But how he got his document, he refused to say. So it's not a public document. And therefore, they've got documents by some other means that nobody knows. I'm not even going to speculate. That has seemed to be the nature of the business these days. A lot of documents being circulated, gotten out of
supposedly
hand, supposedly leaked. But he cannot even answer the question whether the document he has was leaked or not. And he refused to answer. So we can think anyway, because if you really got it, I should be able to say, you should be honest enough to say I got a leaked document. Now, a leaked document might be a document that anybody can read, yes. But what we're saying, tell us where it is so that the world can go and find that document right now. And you're quite right in indicating where the information that you've got from, and I trust that it's authentic. But they have documents that they cannot say where, that John Public, and he identified himself as John Public. That's good. It's very interesting enough. We go into a commercial break now, and we'll be back in a moment. But thank you very much, callers. It makes the program interesting. It makes good listening, and it makes me. I didn't really want to contribute to the program. Your second in command, Champagne, is not here tonight.
Well, you know, he sent me a message just a few minutes ago and said he's here. You know, Champagne went to parts outside of St. Lucia. If I just expose him a little bit, and he was supposed to be here tonight, but he has a little bit of lag associated with wherever he went to. I know he's listening because he messaged about the show, and he has promised that he will be back in studio next week, Tuesday. But I have one thing to say to him, that I hope when he gets back here that he's brought something nice for us, some sort of souvenir or something.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays when people travel, it's not like before. They don't bring anything back for you. But we're gonna hold him. We're gonna hold him up to a higher standard.
Anyway, we have 10 minutes to go on the program, and it just bothers me, Norbert, how, and it seems to be commonplace now. It seems to be very commonplace. I've got a document. I remember on the market steps, and politicians seem to do it too. I have this document.
Yeah, a piece of paper.
A piece of paper.
Yeah.
That they're not supposed to have. A prime minister can't take a document from his office and bring it on a party platform.
Let's take that caller quickly.
Yes, hello, good night.
Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How
Welcome back.
are you guys doing?
Hey!
I thought you'd start with a little parlez-vous français, kind of thing.
Well, listen, interesting show, and I'm so pleased to, with the callers calling in and give their sides of it. But when you hear a gentleman calling and say he's, what's it, Johnny what?
John Public.
John Public.
That's a lot of people in one day,
Let me tell you something. John Public could go anywhere, John Public could be on one side. John Public could also be on the other side.
He has a lot of documents that he can't say where they come from. I mean, everybody should be public. It should be in the Voice or the Star.
All of a sudden, everybody has documents relating to it. But let me don't hold you guys up. You asked a significant question, and I would love for some member of the SLP to call in and to clarify that question you asked. You keep asking if these guys are demanding the completion of St. Jude or to start works on St. Jude, how much money did they left the government of the day so that completion could be done?
I don't know.
And that is a relevant, very relevant question. So I would love for somebody, maybe the people in the likes of Philip Pierre or people in the likes of Dr. Anthony, to call in and say, you know what, we left the government
but it's interesting.
200 million or 50 million or 20 million. And then now let us clarify the guy. I know Honorable Guy Joseph. They will not make that call because there's no money that was left. Because they know Honorable Guy Joseph is waiting for them to call to say they left any money. Because last week, Honorable Guy Joseph said on the program that there was no account, no amount. He said not account. He said there was no amount. You understand? And the question you're asking is relevant. You only demand things when you put things in place to be demanded, right?
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Gentlemen, I have something nice for you guys, but you have to wait for next Tuesday.
Next week, Tuesday.
Okay. God willing.
I hope it doesn't spoil by then.
No. All right, we'll talk later. But
Right.
at least I'll call you in a little while.
Okay.
Thanks
good.
for calling. Okay, we're gonna take a break, or we're gonna take a little break, and we'll be back pretty soon. Keeping it real, Kyrie FM 93.1. If you'd like to call in, 451-1079. Email, comments, questions, info@keepingitreal.lc. And if somebody wants to catch the last few minutes of it on Flow, Cable TV, channel 119. Good evening and welcome back, folks. You're tuned in to Kyrie FM. I'm Norbert Williams with you, and you're listening to the third episode of Keeping It Real. Now, folks, this is the final segment before we shift out of here tonight. But there's a little bit of information I wanted to share with you that's not quite in the context of our discussion tonight, but it's all relevant because it relates to St. Jude. And I feel that I should not leave here tonight without bringing it to your attention. And we've heard a lot of the complaints of things to be done at St. Jude about the electrical works, about everything else that has gone wrong. But I'd like to inform you that works have begun on temporary offices at St. Jude's. The containers have been put in place, multiple containers, and just to let you know that the roof has gone up today, and that's going to be completed within the next few days. The rafters are up. What I really wanted to bring to your attention there with regard to St. Jude is the sewer system. And we have heard the arguments or the noise about it not functioning, about it constantly backing up. And the information that I've gotten about the sewer system, the sewage system at St. Jude's Hospital or the stadium is that the pumps are out of service. They're non-functional. And raw sewage leaks into the mangrove. But you know what I found out, lo and behold, is that this problem has existed for 5 years now. This administration is in office only 2 years. So the people who were so concerned about the mangrove back then, and they're so concerned about St. Jude's Hospital, which is housed at the George Odlum Stadium, and I'm speaking specifically to the VF4Cs or the Viewfort Concerned Citizens Coalition for Change. They have brought up the sewage problem at St. Jude's, and they themselves have spoken about our patrimony and the mangrove swamp. When this whole conversation about DSH and the lands down there in the south and everything. But these people are on both sides of this argument, the mangrove and the sewage system at St. Jude's. But for 3 years, they said absolutely nothing of sewage leaking, running into the mangrove. I thought I'd just bring that to your attention because it just seems so many people are conveniently now all of a sudden finding their voices. And this is just hypocrisy to the highest level. So before we go, because Dr. Alfonso Centros has been at the forefront of the discussion and the pressure on the government with regards to St. Jude's. So I would just like to wrap up tonight's show, with the statement to the media by Dr. Alfonso Centros. Let's just hear what this caller has to say quickly. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Go ahead.
One thing is, so you could sing for yourself. Goodbye. And take the country.
Well, caller, we have something here just for folks like you who contribute nothing and say nothing. That's just for you. And you've been washed down. Maybe you're in the mangrove in Viewfort now where all the sewer is going down, the sewage. So, as I was saying, because we want to get meaningful contributions here. You calling and saying nonsense like that does not solve anything. It does not accomplish anything. So, Dr. Alfonso Centros, president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, on the 6th of October 2017 at the St. Jude's Hospital site. Let's hear what he had to say back then again.
This is a very complex situation. It's not an easy one. It's a very huge pill to swallow, but some people are going to have to swallow that pill. We will put out a statement at the right time. But for now, we need to digest what is going on. It's just premature to say anything on it at this point. But it doesn't look good. It is not good. Something has gone horribly wrong here. And we need answers. Someone has to account for that.
Well, folks, someone has to account. And whether we like it or not, kicking and screaming, someone or someone's have to be held accountable for St. Jude's?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know we run out of time. It's past 10 o'clock and we have to join the BBC. But, I want to appeal to our listeners. Not everyone will appreciate the programs that are on radio, whether it's this radio station or another radio station or a TV station or another TV station. But let's be human in this small 14 by 21 mile island, St. Lucia, the Helen of the West. So you disagree with what you hear. So what's the point of calling to say, to be negative? Just switch off your radio. You don't have to listen. Is it that you're made up of the kind of material that you cannot bear to hear something on radio? Listen, I listen to other talk shows. I don't agree with them, but I will not take the time and waste the money to pick up a phone and call the radio station just to say something negative. It's just silly. It is just utterly what I can use many other words. But I want to say something else, that is. And Norbert, listen to this carefully. We talk about the money in St. Jude and wastage and so on and so forth. Recently, I studied the famous plane we call the Concorde. Remember the Concorde?
Yes, of course.
Concorde, $70 million, $17 to $90 million per plane. And where is that plane now? Yes, 70 to pounds, sorry. Pounds. 70 to $90 million for 150 passenger plane.
In 2018 dollars, that would have been much more than that.
And that plane is now scrubbed because of flaws. Flaws that cost people's lives. One of them is in Barbados as a showpiece at the airport, at the Grantley Adams Airport. People, let's be honest with ourselves. St. Jude has problems probably from the beginning. It took lives, number one, 4 lives. Construction started, or construction was supposed to start. Whatever happened, governments on both sides will make errors. Governments on both sides will make errors. But what's the point? The point is you have to know the historical facts. You have to know what takes place, and you have to take your time before you move forward. What this program, Keeping It Real, is trying to show the public is that the same people that are arguing and saying that people are dying, that's what they're saying. That's what they're on TV now coming out and say people are dying, as though the statistics will show you. And I don't know if you have those statistics. If there are more people dying now than at the time they were at the helm.
That is right. That is right.
And this is what information is all about. They're coming now to say people are dying, but when you look at the statistics, the same amount or maybe more people were dying during their term of office.
Well, actually, I have that information here. I'm trying to pull it up for you. But I can tell you that the statistics that exist for from 2009 to 2017, the number of deaths at St. Jude Hospital have remained consistent. So the cry, particularly by Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose, almost to the point of tears, whatever he was suggesting, suggests a very dire situation. People are dying. We have to do something. But people were dying in 2015. They were dying in 2014. They were dying in 2013. As a matter of fact, the year with the most number of deaths at St. Jude Hospital between 2009 and 2017 was in 2014, and it was 184. As of last year, 2017, the last year with figures, the number is, if I remember correctly, 130 or somewhere around there.
But all that said, one death is too much, too many. Right?
But not that. But
people always die in hospitals.
But he never stated what was the cause of the death that he was so concerned about nowadays.
That's right. People get into accidents, they go to the hospital, and because of the situation, they die, right? But why are intelligent, so-called intelligent people using that to score what points? What are they gaining by that? Let's talk about their failures. Let Philip J. Pierre, let Moses Jabatis, let Alva, I'll put Honorable before all them. Let all of them come out and say, if they would even, listen, you see, there's something called honest politician. Although my mother tell me there's no such thing as an honest politician. But if they would even come out and say, listen, we made a mess of things. That's what we want to hear the Labour Party say. As difficult as it may sound, come out and before you start to open your mouth, say, listen, we made a mess of things. And the reason why we are talking so much is because we do not want the UWP to make further mess. But don't come out as though y'all are angels and the UWP is just messing around. Come on, guys. And come on, supporters of parties. Come on, supporters of parties. Because this program was good for you. This is good for you to understand what is going on. Don't come out and say you have documents, where it's coming from. You cannot tell me, you cannot even say where it was leaked, whether your friend gave it to you or where you got it from. There's too much of that going on. There's too much of that. People's contracts are being displayed. If you have a document, say where you got it.
Okay, I am able. Okay, let's go to that caller. Good evening, caller.
Hello.
You're on the air.
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
Another wasted.
I actually have it here. I was able to find it in all the documents that I have here. And I hope you all will indulge for just a second. Okay, we have hospital inpatient deaths. And that is for StJudes Hospital. The statistics here are from 2009 to 2017, all the years in between. In 2009, we had 112 deaths. That's the same year of the StJudes fire. In 2010, they would have moved over to George Odlum Stadium. We had 107 deaths. In 2011, we had 105 deaths. In 2012, we had 143 deaths. Now, remember, St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, according to Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose, was working in the background, right? These people were dying whilst they were working in the background. In 2012, 143 deaths. In 2013, 126 deaths. In 2014, 184 deaths. Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose was not crying about people dying, right? In 2015, 136 deaths. In 2016, 153 deaths. And in 2017, 130 deaths. But just about when the number of deaths have been at their lowest, for whatever reason, Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose decides to cry and say that people are dying. We have to do something about this. And it leaves you to wonder what was being done by Dr. Alphonsus St. Rose and whoever else in the background, because they made no statements. They didn't say anything anywhere. They didn't take any actions. They didn't do anything at all that we can recall.
Well, that is the type of information I want to see come out to the public, because the public are speaking without details. And if that document is available publicly from the statistics department, it would be interesting that they publish this document so that people would know the facts. And, and this is what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about playing politics with this and politics with that. We need to let people know this is a different type of program. Keeping it real, this is a different type of station.
That's right.
We don't have time for this go tell this and you singing for your supper kind of nonsense. Everybody sings for their supper.
No fluff, no bluff over here. But before we go, I would just like you to let the people of St. Lucia know that there will be a statement by the government tomorrow in the persons of the Prime Minister, Minister of Health, and the Minister of Economic Development, Guy Joseph, Mary Isaac, and Prime Minister Alan Chasney, who will be making a statement with regard to
what time is
the way forward. It will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, and it will be on NTN, and it will be, or should be, on all the other stations at the same time.
And this
station as well. So I will give you a preview on what is to be discussed, which has been released by the government, and I will put that on for you to hear what they have to say about what's coming up for tomorrow.
The government of St. Lucia addresses the people of St. Lucia on healthcare. Join us on Wednesday, July 4th at 8 p.m. for a special discussion with Honorable Prime Minister Alan Chasney, Minister for Health Honorable Mary Isaac, and Minister for Economic Development Honorable Guy Joseph. These key ministers joined the Prime Minister to speak to the nation about universal national health insurance, the decision on the St. Jude Hospital project, the Owen King EU Hospital, the expansion of primary health care, updates on new polyclinics and hospitals, and the government's plans to deliver affordable quality healthcare to the people of St. Lucia. Tune in at 8 p.m. for an in-depth update from the government on building a resilient healthcare system for all.
That's tomorrow, July the 4th, Wednesday, July the 4th at 8 p.m. Any final words from you?
Well, I thought it was an interesting program tonight. I wish that persons would understand that if what they're hearing is from another side of the fence, they should understand that they shouldn't get too rude and too insultive. I think that we have to be a little understanding as well, because I like to give people the opportunity, and we don't mind people opposing what is being said. But I think that people are too one-sided on issues. Look at it from a balanced perspective. You might support a particular party, right? But you have to look at it from a balanced view and understand what is it for St. Lucia. Did the government made a faux pas? You listen to Barbados. Look at what has happened in Barbados. We have an opposition now that was in office. Now, I wanted to make this point earlier. If the present opposition, the 6 members that are in the House, were not in office in the previous administration, and they had new members like there are new members in the House in Barbados, then you can understand the arguments that they're making towards the Mia Amor Motley government.
Yeah.
Right? But when the opposition that's sitting there was part of the decision-making body, this is what is annoying. As though these guys were not around. They just came in there at the last minute. They just picked 6 fellas and tell them be in the opposition for the Alan Chasney administration. Yeah. These guys were there. These guys should have known. Grindberg, they should have known, and they should be attacking Dr. Kenny Anthony now for keeping it a secret away from the cabinet. His own against away from the people of St. Lucia. There's so many secrets, but they're now in today's press conference talking about this secretive government. St. Lucians, I think, are not as foolish and dumb as some of the politicians believe they are. And the results of the elections in June 16th
was a clear indication.
And when the next election is called, the people will make a decision again, whether they will keep this administration or whether they'll put the Labour Party in. But my hope for the Labour Party makes sense. You all were there You all made the error, serious errors, in not finishing the hospital when you all had the reins of power. Why are you all now the same people that could have done it and didn't do it? Because, you know, you all are super cats. You all are great. You all are the best party for St. Lucia. That's what you hear. And you all failed. So just back off, I would think, and understand that give this government the duly respect it deserves because the people put them there to work for them. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for letting me say my 2 and 6. We'll be with the Prime Minister tomorrow.
2 and 6 is 8. But I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in again tonight. Those of you on the internet in the US and Canada. I'm going to say hello again to listeners in Atlanta, Georgia, because somebody said that I didn't mention the Atlanta St. Lucians. So good night to you all listening over there. In fact, I got a message just about 5 minutes ago from Atlanta, Georgia, saying that they're listening. So thank you very much. Just got home too late, but I'm listening to the last half hour of it. So this person here in Atlanta still rushed home and made time to listen to Keeping It Real. I'd like to thank all of our loyal listeners, even though it's just the 3rd episode. Thank you very much for tuning in to Keeping It Real on Kyrie FM. We'll be with you next week, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. And look out, next week, Tuesday is going to be hot. Have a good night.
I know that time